Today, the idea is to start at the very bottom, the worst team in the English National Leagues. Here. Well, specifically here. Weymouth FC, predicted to finish 24th in the Vanarama National League South, and so statistically, according to Sports Interactive, the worst English team on Football Manager. The idea is simple. Can we go from the very bottom to the very top? I'm thinking winning the league, Champions Leagues, FA Cups, the lot. As always, we're all about the journey, the story, the adventure. So, let's get started. Okay, so I can see why this team that greets me on arrival is the worst in the English football leagues. We've got a right back that has 8 tackling and 7 marking, for example. And that's the general sort of quality of the squad. It's not looking great, but the worst thing that I noticed immediately is that basically every contract is due to expire in today. We're going to have like 2 players and they're on loan. It's going to be a very immediate rebuilding job, and I'm going to go and see what players I can bring in on trial before doing free transfers, because yeah, that's right, we have to do free transfers because we've got no money. Love lower league saves. This should be a fun start. Let's get trialing. Okay, so I've managed to bring in some players on trial quite quickly here. I'm feeling better about things if we choose to sign these guys that I've brought in here. Probably the highlight, and I'll show you the squad once it's confirmed, I suppose. The highlight is probably Luke Gambin. He looks pretty good. He is a right winger. Can play on both sides, actually. He's a Maltese international, though. He's 31 now, but 36 caps for Malta. He looks pretty good. And then the other big name is Romeo Beckham. I think we're going to sign Romeo Beckham. Sometimes the stories in these saves, they just write themselves, don't they? Oh, and also, I did spot in the under-18s, we've got this guy who's got 5-star ability, 5-star potential. His name's Scott Lucas. He doesn't look like he's up to too much here, but with the potential he's got, I feel like we bring him immediately into the first team. Could we make Scott Lucas, along with Brooklyn Beckham, save heroes in this save and try and keep them here for the long haul? That is something that is definitely talking to me right now. Something I want to do. I've also made a plan for how we're going to play. We're going to go 4-4-2. It's quite Brexit, but we are playing in the Vanarama National League South. And as we've mentioned, we are predicted to finish bottom of the league with 300-1 outsiders for this league. So really, the odds are stacked against us. So we need to go to an old tried and trusted, the 4-4-2. I have also, though, put a Segundo Volante in for fun, really. I have no idea how a Segundo Volante is going to go in the Vanarama National League South, but I'm sort of here to try and find out. Anyway, let's go and complete our transfer business, sign some of these players up, and I'll talk you through the squad for our first season. Okay, today's video might be a long one. Before we get into things properly, I just want to say thank you for watching, and please subscribe to the channel. We are, as always, still aiming for 100,000 subscribers. I'm quite excited about this one. It should be a really fun story. It's almost movie-ish in a sort of way. So yeah, let's jump into it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Let's go and find out what these signings are like. Okay, so a very busy transfer window has been completed. And I mean, let me just show you. This is how many players we've managed to bring in. We spent 2.8k, which was all of our budget, and actually over our budget, to be honest. I don't know why there's even... The 2.8k just randomly went on this guy, James Comley, but I thought he was actually a free transfer. He's a Montserrat international. But all of our business is now complete, and this is what the squad looks like. Now, some of these players played in the first game of the season, which I'm going to show you how that one's gone. Some of them didn't because they've just joined after the game, but this is generally what the squad looks like. Now, I don't know if I need to go into too much detail with these because how long some of these players are going to be at the club kind of depends, really, doesn't it? Some of them I do want to keep hold of and turn into heroes of the save, as mentioned, but the majority will probably be just discarded as soon as we move up the divisions, hopefully. Keeper, though, Lawrence Bilbo is the man who's going to be keeping goal for us. He is fine. Jordan Aina is our right back. Is he related to... He is. Ola Aina's brother. There we go. I thought he might be. Jordan Aina, also a right back, plays right back. We've got Erion Zabelli at centre back and Sam Habergam as our other centre back, and then Geniero Marag as our left back. Then into midfield, these are the players I'm actually excited about. This guy here, Mauro Bandera, was not available for the first game, but I've signed him since. He's going to be our Segundo Volante, and I have a feeling he's pretty good for this level here. He's actually not even that unfamiliar with playing as a Segundo Volante. 20-year-old Portuguese player, star player, £800 a week. Kind of building a team around him slightly. Him and Romeo Beckham on the right-hand side. He's actually quite good. Well, for this level anyway, Romeo Beckham is he's pretty good. Like, he's got decent physicals and 11 crossing. Not quite on his dad's level, but that's good for the Vanarama National League South, isn't it? He's going to play right mid as we're playing inverted wingers. I just think don't question my methods. I think it's going to work. Luke Gambin, the Malta international that I showed you before, we had him on trial. We've signed him for left mid. And then up front, I've signed this guy, Joe McGlynn, who looks really good actually for this league. 21-year-old under 18 Scottish international, Joe McGlynn. And then potentially the star man, Scott Lucas, the boy wonder who's come through our youth intake, is going to be starting at 16 years old. I'm going to I promise you, try my hardest to turn him into a save hero. And actually, he's doing that himself, because in the very first game, we have managed to win it 4-1. We're off to an absolute flyer. Remember, we're predicted to finish dead last, completely bottom and get relegated. So an away win against Hampton and Richmond, I think it is. Yeah, Hampton and Richmond. An away win 4-1 is just outrageous scenes, really. Have a look at the goals, especially when you consider that actually we went 1-0 down as well. Roberts with the goal for them with some, I mean, it's poor defending. But then from the 38th minute onwards, we went crazy and did this. It was a goal from Scott Lucas, the 16-year-old. That's his first in the claret and blue of Weymouth. That's his second from the penalty spot. And then from there, he just kept going, really. We scored a header with this guy Paul from a corner. And then to complete things off, it was, who scored our final goal? It was Comley, the defensive midfielder, to make it 4-1. 2 goals on debut for our boy wonder, Scott Lucas. I'm now feeling really good. We've got enough players in to take us to 13th place predicted as well. So our business clearly is making a difference. Bringing in players like Joe McGlynn, who's now in the Dream 11. Bringing in, I think, Bandera in our midfield. Romeo Beckham, Scott Lucas, Gambin on the left-hand side. Ola Aina's brother, Jordan. I think we've got a chance here to at least survive. Maybe, and knowing Football Manager, and I don't know if you've ever done lower league saves before, I reckon we can push for the top here. I honestly think we could just go for this. Playing a system that is clearly works, because we've just won 4-1 away from home. Why not aim for promotion? And that's what we're going to do. I'm going to go now till January and check in and see how this first season is going then. All right, here we are then in February, actually. I was going to say January. We've just done the January transfer window, although it doesn't really matter with windows because most of the players we're signing are on free transfers, so it kind of matters a little bit less. There is a free transfer window, of course. But at this stage of the season, this squad is doing the business. I had a small inkling that this was going to be the case, but it very much is the case. We are performing brilliantly. We are top of the league. We are going to win the league, I think, in our first season. I've played lower league saves like this before, and it really doesn't take a lot. When you can sign so many people on free transfers, bringing in 5 or 6 high-quality players on a free that are just above the level of the other players that the AI will sign, you can really do this quite quickly. You will see it levels out a little bit when you get to League 1 and League 2 and then League 1 and definitely the Championship. It levels out a lot, but lower leagues, you can just go and do this, which is what we've done. 30 games in so far, 23 wins, 4 draws, 3 losses. We're not completely infallible. We will lose games, but pretty much we're going into most games expecting to win them. We've got a game with Enfield Town now, and I would expect us to go and win that game as well. To show you how people have been performing, these are our stats of our players. The keeper's been really good. It's Jacob Cowler, who I brought in on a loan in October. So it was after the window after I showed you before, but he's been very, very solid. He's played a fair few games. Also, Bilbo's played a fair few games. Both keepers have been really good. Jordan Aina has been really good, 29 games. The defense has changed a lot. If you look at the amount of games played on here, you can see it. Toby's played 12 games, but Sam Habergum has played plenty of games in the middle too, and we've been changing it here so that Geniero Marag plays at left back a little bit more often. Really, the star men, though, Bandera, as expected, he's got 14 goals from this Segundo Volante role. He's also assisted 5 goals, 7.29 average rating. We need to make sure that we keep him tied down. His contract expires in the summer. I can't really do much about it at the moment because we don't really have any wage budget. But he's the type of player that I want to keep around if possible. Especially that even if we give him a new contract, we might be able to sell him for money and getting actual money in through the door at this stage could be quite useful coming up, going onwards anyway. Comley's played alongside him. Romeo Beckham, 11 goals from our young Beckham superstar. Again, his contract is up, so I need to think about how I'm going to deal with that as well. That's pretty much every player, by the way. They've got 1-year contracts. He's got 7 goals in the league, 2 assists and a decent average rating too. from Romeo Beckham. And then maybe the star man, Joe McGlynn. He's got 16 goals up front, 36 games. Scott Lucas, our wonder boy, has got an unambitious personality, which is a bit of a shame. His ability is no longer 5 stars according to our coaches either, but I still think he'll do a job for us. His value's at 1 million, so that tells me that he does have quite high potential. His coach report says that he could improve a lot. He's Vanarama South standard and could improve a lot, which doesn't tell me what league he could go and play in, but tells me that we might be able to keep him around for a while. He's got 9 goals despite only being 17, so if he improves, I haven't seen loads of improvement yet. If he improves, he could be that save hero that I want him to be. In talking of save heroes, Benny Ashley Seal, if you've been watching my channel for long enough, you might well recognise the name Benny Ashley Seal. He has been brought in as a backup, but has chipped in with some goals. 10 goals in 11 starts from the Benny Ashley Seal. Legend. He's unhappy and wants to leave because he's not starting every game, but it is what it is. Luke Gambin's injured at the moment. Otherwise, he'll be starting on this left-hand side of midfield, but Jedediah Brown is currently playing there. He is likely to leave, though. He's got bids from other clubs because his contract is up. That, though, is the story of the season. Here are the results. I don't know if I need to dwell on these too much. We've actually had a good run in the FA Cup as well. We played Charlton in the FA Cup third round. Charlton, who are in the League One? Yeah, League One. We did lose them 2-1, but Romeo Beckham scored in that. Getting to the third round, it's a shame we didn't get that proper big Premier League team. But if we did get that Premier League team, I probably would come back and play it with you to watch it. But it was Charlton. Still a decent big name, isn't it? Although we did in the end lose there. We beat Southend and we beat Crewe in the rounds before that, as you can see. But yeah, top of the league with 16 games to go. I'm going to go and play those games now, and we can hopefully just celebrate going up. And we did go up. We ended up on 108 points, which is actually lucky because Boreham Wood were also really good this season. 90 points from them. But we only lost 4 games, drew 9. So we did drop points in a few more games in the second half of the season. Drew 2 of our last 5 games as well, but it really didn't matter. The work that we'd done earlier in the season was enough to keep us well and truly top. 33 wins from 46 is very, very healthy indeed. There you can see the results, look. A loss against Chippenham, a loss against Salisbury after that, loss against Charlton in the FA Cup, but then those were the only 2 of that second half of the season. From February onwards, which is where we just had a look at, we went unbeaten bar 1 and winning the vast majority of them as well. You can see the goal scorers too. Plenty more from Bandera. He got himself 2 penalties here. He was our penalty taker, which is why he did score a lot of goals from the spot, as you can see. Romeo Beckham chipping in with goals. He ended up getting 9 goals in, well, 13 goals in all competitions, 4 in the cup as well. And he also, you'll be very happy to know, has signed a new contract for another year. So he will be staying, as well as pretty much all of the ones that I want to. At the moment, I'm still struggling to get Mauro Bandera to sign a new contract and Port Vale in for him. Something I'm working on. Something I'm going to be looking at for the summer window as well. Scott Lucas is here for another 2 years. He's got a long contract. In fact, if I show you the contracts here, the guys that are definitely staying are Romeo Beckham and Scott Lucas. Everybody else I'm sort of working on, also waiting until we tick over so that we're in the league above, so that I can see which players are available for us to join, because suddenly the pool of players gets a little bit better once we'll be in the Vanarama National League proper. So summer business coming up. That's what I'm going to go and do now. See if we can build on this brilliant, amazing start that we've had for this first season. You can see some of the player stats on here too. Bandera ends up on 21 goals from Segundo Volante. Joe McGlynn gets 21. Scott Lucas, first season as a pro, and he's not even a man yet. He's actually wanted. Oh, I hadn't noticed that. His value's gone right down, which I don't really understand how values work at this level. He's wanted by Southend now. He has got this contract as well until 2026. Maybe it's because his contract, his wage is low, that his value is low. Either way, we're going to hold on to him because I don't want to sell him, because he's our guy. He's our unique hero in this save. So I'm going to do some transfer business now. I'll see you once we're ready to start our second season. Okay, welcome back then to season 2 of our save, and we're making really good progress. I've actually got all the way to November of our second season here, and I wanted to check in to show you how people are performing, because again, we're very good. We are now in the Vanarama National League proper, and after 16 games, we are joint top at the top of the league. Now, this would be great if we can convert this into a second consecutive promotion. I feel like we'll really start moving in this challenge. I'm almost wanting now that we've made a good start, I'm kind of saying, shall we put a bit of a deadline on this? Shall I say we need to win the league or the Champions League in 10 seasons? That feels, we've still got a long way to go. So League 2, League 1, Championship, Prem is a minimum of 4 seasons. And then to actually go and win it Well, but there's 5 seasons by there. So that'll be tough, but I kind of want to put that pressure on myself. If we fail, then I think we're going to continue today until we win one of those, but I'm sort of wanting to put a bit of pressure on myself as I play through it here. Top of the league, joint top with York so far. We are, our building in the transfer window has put us as 6 favourites anyway with the squad that we've managed to get. So it's not actually that much of a surprise that we are challenging towards the top. We've been good in the market once again. Transfer business has been a lot, as you might expect, with a lot of players being released. Can I show you on here? Released players at the end of last year. So these guys that you may recognise, players like Habergan played a lot of games. Jordan Aina has gone now on a free. Bilbo, the keeper. Benny Ashley Seal didn't play enough games for him to want to stay. Did he get a new club? He's at Ebbsfleet now. He's actually out of contract. I don't think we need him though. He also went, and I did go and replace them, I think, actually quite impressively with what I've done in the window. Also, Luke Gamblin, the Maltese international, did go on a free transfer as well. These are the players that came in. I don't know if there is 1 or 2 still on here. Yeah, 1 or 2 extra ones over here too. Let's just start with this guy here, Kevin Locko. I'll start with him because I know he's been starting and playing games. He's our left-sided centre-back now, 29-year-old. He's been at all, I was going to say X and then say one of the teams he's been at, but he's been at all over the place. Played most games for Dover back in 2020-ish. Since then, he's been at plenty of other teams. He's going to come and play left-side centre-back for us. And then this season, these are our signings. To pick out 1 or 2 ones that I think are maybe the better of the players. Good new keeper in Louis Molden. He's going to be our starting goalkeeper now, only 23 as well. Justin Devenny to come and play in our midfield. We've got these 2 midfielders, one of them playing as a Segunda Volante, the other one kind of just doing the rest of the work, whilst the other one just pushing forward. Justin Devenny is going to be that guy that does the majority of the legwork, I think. He is pretty good for a free. He's got good value as well, actually, on a free transfer. He was at Palace before this, didn't play any games. So he comes in. Also, this one, I wanted to point out, Marcus Brown, so far this year, possibly the star of the show, I'd say. I think he's got the highest average rating. Or was it assists? He's got 8 goals and 5 assists in 13 games, basically. Playing on the left-hand side of midfield, as you can see here. There's Devenny, look, that we brought in. Bandera did sign a new contract. He's here until the end of the season. I don't know if I said that before. Beckham continues. Our strike force is still the same. Lucas and McGlynn, both of them doing great. 8 goals for Scott Lucas. Still wanted, I think. Okay, it's Leighton Orient now. Value, by the way, is still really, really low. I don't quite know what's going on with that. He signed another year deal as well. I've given him an extension to his deal as well until 2027 because I do really want to hold on to him. I kind of want him to develop a bit more, although he has made progress. His pace is up to 14, look. His finishing is at 11. I kind of, if we're going to use him in like League 2 and League 1 even potentially, he will need to continue to improve. But it does say that he's potentially championship standard. So I've got hope. I've got hope that we can take him with us on the entire journey. And if he does need to come out and have a rest, we've got a new signing in Nathan Butler Oyedeji. I know that people who watch my streams will now be singing a particular song because we've signed this guy in the past and he's been a hero for us. MBO, we call him. He's going to be a backup striker for us at the moment. I also am quite intrigued by the fact that he's got good value. If we were to sell him, we might be able to make a big profit on him. But he's doing a good job of being the backup. 4 goals in just 8 starts from him as well. And that's sort of the team. New right back in Max Robson. He's really good as well, currently injured. New left back in Tom Davies. He looks quite good as well. Other than that, I think it's not a completely rebuilt team. There are still familiar names in here. Just adding a bit of quality as we go through, which I think has to kind of be the order of the day. And our results have been great. Let's show you some goals because you want to see a little bit of action, don't we? This is a 5-0 win at home to Chester. And goals from, plenty of goals in there from lots of people. Not actually one from our guy up front, Scott Lucas, but here is some of the action. Romeo Beckham with a horrible free kick, which I don't think that was aimed for our right back, Marag, there, but it went straight to him. Devenny with a corner, Locko. We are using our set pieces. He's 6'3", I think, Locko, our left-sided centre-back, so always useful to have in the squad. Here's Robson, our new right back. McGlynn with a lovely finish, still scoring goals. Our ginger striker. Not sure why I've pointed out his hair colour there, to be honest. Mara on the left-hand side at the moment, then White, and then he popped that one in as well. He's been usually a sub, actually, White, but he's been useful when we need him. I thought that was the end. There's another goal. They were all in the first half, by the way. We did score 1 in the second half. Nathan Butler Oyedeji with the goal. MBO putting it in at the near post there. That was just to show you some of the action. I'm going to continue now. We are predicted to finish around the top of the table. We are top of the table at the moment. York have a way worse goal difference than us. I'm just hoping that... Have we played York yet? Or do we play them? I'm assuming we played them again. We lost to them, didn't we? Yeah. Lost 4-2 to them. We play them again at home in January. If we win that game, maybe that will give us the boost to go and win this league. I think I may even... Unless there's something significant happens... Unless something significant happens in January or something, I think I might go all the way to the end of this season now and get us to finish up season 2, because I'm kind of hoping / expecting that we go and win this league. So I'll possibly see you in about May 2025. And so, yeah, it's the end of the season. And guess what? We did it. 2 seasons, 2 league titles. It is the perfect start to our adventure here. Now, I need to keep, I think, clarifying. This is the easy part. I really do think that with these saves, you can pick up players, you can make your team so much better that if you have if you can find a system that works, you can find yourself a way to win these leagues relatively simply. It's something that I actually want to see Football Manager try and improve in future games. It will get trickier for sure, especially if we give ourselves that deadline, and especially if we are aiming for the very, very top with a team like Weymouth, because eventually you get ahead of your reputation. You can't sign players and things, and then you have financial problems, and it can get tricky. Right now, though, we're finding it a breeze. 46 games, 34 wins, 109 points. We ran away with it. It was an easy second half of the season. I talked about that York game as one that could make or break our season. It really didn't matter in the end. We did win it. We won 3-1 in that game, but we won pretty much most games from that point onwards. I think we were here in November, weren't we? We won a game 10-3 here. It's just... Yeah, our players are better than the other players in the league. Scott Lucas got a hat-trick. McGlynn got a hat-trick. Marcus Brown got a hat-trick from left wing as well. Like 3 hat-tricks in this game, and then a goal from Bandera as well. We were flying. We flew to a league title. These are the stats that I just wanted to show you. Really, the thing that I wanted to show you most of all was that Scott Lucas scored 30... Was it 30 odd goals this year? 27 goals. 23 in the league. He's now got 35 in 72 in his career. So he's like a 1 in 2 striker at the age of 18, 7.42 average rating. I'm really hoping that this form kicks him onto the next thing as well. And as soon as we go to the next league, he can keep improving and keep improving. I am trying to do things like improve our training facilities and our youth recruitment and our youth facilities. They're pretty low, but it is something that I am working on in the background. We're also going to need to be thinking about our stadium capacity eventually as well, which is only 6,600, but that will improve. Favoured personnel, we are into a favoured personnel at the moment. Mauro Bandera is the only player as well that's also made his way into here. Love this man to bits. Does have another year on his contract, so we won't be losing him. He will be able to go and play with us as we go to League 2. And because of that also, we've also turned professional. So all of our players that were on part-time contracts are needing to go on full-time contracts. So I've been working my way through doing those. There are a few that are still on part-time, which is because I need to sort those out. If I sort by this, look, these guys are going out of contract at the end of this season, all the way down to Gennaro Marag here. The big one, which is a real shame, but he has told me that he wants to leave and he's considering his options. It's Joe McGlynn. I actually think he would still be able to score goals for us at the next level up, but he doesn't want to stay. I can keep asking him and I'll keep trying, but at the moment, he is considering his options and he's probably going to leave. So that's a shame, but we'll adapt and probably sign someone who's really, really good anyway to replace him. That, though, is what we're going to be doing next. We've still not been given a transfer budget. We have £386 per week to spend on a wage budget. Once a few players' contracts expire, we'll be able to bring in some new players. And again, once it ticks over to the new season, we'll be able to work on some deals for some players that are potentially of a higher standard. Going into League 2, I'm wondering if this is going to be where things get a little bit more tricky. I guess we'll go and find out. Let's go and do some more transfer business. Do you know what? Heading into season number 3, I'm actually mildly confident, which is maybe a worry. I was wondering whether this would be the league where we'd start to struggle. However, I'm really impressed with some of the signings that we've managed to make. I want to show you them now. We have brought in Zach Orr at centre-back. Now, Zach Orr is going to score goals for us. I've signed him in other saves, actually. 6'5". This guy is he's already really good for this level. In fact, if I go to here, he is a good Sky Bet League 2 player with a bit of potential to grow as well, considering we're now only newly promoted. Getting players like this guy in on a free is giving me this confidence that we can go and do something in this league. It might not be first time straight up to League 1, but I reckon we can go and challenge up that end of the table, which is my aim. Because we've also signed Leighton Stewart, the ex-Liverpool youngster. He is a bit of a a classic lower league signing, I feel like. He's going to be one of our strikers for this year, and I think he's got a lot of quality. Luke Garbett, very famous footballer, played a lot of football at lots of different levels. Everton, I think, is the most famous one, I think. And he is now a Salford player, but we've managed to loan him. He was playing in this league last year, played 27 games for Salford. So he's going to be an option for us at left back. Probably going to be our starting left back. Omar Bogle as a striker, 6'3", left-footed. He's called a well-travelled striker, which I quite like. He's played for a whole host of clubs as well in England, all the way. Played in Scotland as well for a little bit there, and played in the Netherlands for a season. Is that what he went on loan to ADO Den Haag from Cardiff? Either way, he's played at quite a high level, played in the Championship, played in the Premier League. Well, didn't actually play in this season, but was in the Premier League with Cardiff when they were there. We've now got him, and he scored 9 goals. Well, actually, he scored 17 goals the season before last with Crewe. I'm hoping he can score some goals for us in this league. He'll be a partner for Scott Lucas up front, I feel like. Then we've also got Joe Worm-Leighton. He's going to be a right-back option for us. And then finally, Harry Brook to play in central midfield. I genuinely think this squad is looking pretty good for League 2. It's a lot of the usual names in there. Names like Scott Lucas to lead our line. He is still wanted, this time by Bolton, Lincoln and Millwall. His value hasn't really increased, but I keep just giving him new contracts. He's still got 3 years left. We're going to keep him. We're going to try and take him to the very, very top level that we can take him to. We've still got him. We've still got Romeo Beckham. We've still got Bandera and Devaney in midfield. Loco's still here. He's now got a great partner in Zach Orr. The keeper, Louis Molden, is still around. We've then got Nathan Butler-Oyedeji still as a backup. I've actually been training him so that he can play as a winger as well. Trying to use him on this left-hand side fairly often. Inverted winger on this side. So he might well be an option rather than Marcus Brown all the time on this side. But I feel good. We're not predicted to do too well in the league, but where are we? 18th. I genuinely feel like I know that this system works. I know that these players are good. If we can get 1 or 2 results to start things off, why not? Why not go and see if we can challenge towards the top? That's the aim. I just want to say before we continue too that the overall balance is now looking pretty good. At one stage, it was looking a little bit ropey because we just don't make money. We've got a 6,000-seater stadium that we don't tend to sell out. We get around about 1,500 fans for our home games, as you can see from last year. That might hopefully improve this year, but we just don't make any money, and it was looking pretty ropey on the financial front until we managed to do this sale of our right back, Max Robson. Sold him for 800k. It's going to genuinely keep the club ticking over, I think. He was really good for us, and he's going to go and play for Blackpool in League One. So that kind of shows his quality there. He does actually start for them, I think, according to their tactics there. He was great for us, but 800k puts us back in the black financially and can maybe just finance us for a season. Maybe if we can get 1 or 2 more sales to kind of keep that going as well. We do have players that have genuine transfer value now, like Marcus Brown is worth £475,000. And I think actually attributes-wise, he's not that great anymore. So maybe we can use him as a sale or something. This is just things that I'm working on. Same as the idea to try and improve our training facilities and youth facilities, etc., etc. They are slowly but surely getting there. We are actually under a transfer embargo at the moment because of our financial regulation breaches, but that will be fixed. It actually, if you go to finances here, it says that we are now on course to meet financial fair play. It was just because we went so much in debt. Now that with that sale, it should all be fine at this stage. But yeah, one other little thing that we're contending with. I'm confident though. Let's see if that confidence is well placed or if it is completely delusional. Let's go and find out. Okay, so it wasn't delusion. It wasn't delusion, and I've got accidentally on a bit of a run here. We're at the end of the season. I've completed season number 3, and we've only gone and bloody won the league. We have finished on 105 points, and I had a small inkling that this team was good, but it's so much better than I thought it was going to be. We have absolutely blitzed the league. 33 wins from 46. Scott Lucas, this new gen that we had at the start of the game, is outrageous, and I was wondering whether he'd start to meet his potential. It looks like he is. Look at the growth of this player this season. He has gone out and scored in this season 20 league goals, 22 all comps, 7.4 average rating. It takes him to 55 in 108 games. He is better than 1 in 2 now, which is just glorious when you consider that he's gone from Vanarama South, Vanarama National, now League 2. 3 league titles on his resume as well. Outrageously good. Finishing up to 12. First touch 15. 15 pace and acceleration. This is a guy now that I think can play in the Championship, even potentially off the bench in the Prem. Maybe I'm pushing it a little bit there, but he's now a good Sky Bet League One player. We're in League Two, going to League One, so we'll have him for next year. Could still improve a little bit from there. Maybe according to that, it looks like he's sort of reaching his potential, which would be a shame, but I'm going to hold on to him. I think maybe I was pushing it a little bit by saying Prem, but we're gonna hold on to him. He's got his contract for 3 years. I actually might try and give him another contract now. His value's gone way up, look. He is wanted by Millwall and Rotherham. I'm not too worried about those two because I think Millwall are Championship, so we'll be a league below those. Rotherham are going to be in our league next year, unless they got promoted, which they didn't. So I'm not too worried about those two. We're going up to League One. It's been a perfect start to this adventure. Just look at the stats. I love it so much because Scott Lucas, top goal scorer, best average rating. Romeo Beckham got the most assists. Sometimes just ignore the attributes a little bit. Like, obviously, I probably am playing Romeo Beckham more often because he's Romeo Beckham rather than how good he is. But look at the growth. Look how much better he's got just because I've been playing him so often. And it's so good to see. Like, he's obviously still lacking a little bit. Like, he's not the fastest or anything. But he's a League One player now, I'd say. Well, technically, he's a good Sky Bet League Two player, but could play in League One. And we're going to go to League One next year. I've actually surprised myself by how good, how effective these players can be. If you find the right system that works, clearly this tactic, this system that I'm using is working. And I'm just kind of sticking with my old favourites and sort of reaping the rewards of that. It's great. He got himself 10 goals and was it 17 assists or something? 17 assists for 2 seasons in a row. So good. This is the team, to show you some of the stats on here. Now, there is a little bit of rotation going. In fact, let me quick pick the best 11 because that was my last team there. You can see by just how good we've been. Like, Loco got himself 7 goals. Zach Orr, I said he'd improve us. He got a really good average rating, scored 8 goals from there. Romeo Beckham with the 10. Courtney George and Bandera. Courtney George came in. He's a 17-year-old who came through our youth intake. He's still a youth player, look, but he's managed. I'm trying to give him some game. He's got a bit of potential, it would seem. He's actually got potential to improve a lot from being Vanarama national standards. So we've got quite lucky with our intakes, I will say, especially for a club that doesn't have good training facilities or youth facilities. It's just quite nice to see that they're coming through. It's just lovely to see those guys coming through and being able to play and use them. It's not something you always get to do in saves, is it? Actually using your youth intake players. I also signed a couple of extra players that I need to show you as well. This was after I showed you most of our window. We signed Josh Emmanuel on a free. He played plenty of games as our right back this year. Onal Hernandez, who is the former Norwich striker. Well, I thought he was a striker. He's not a striker. He's a winger. We played him at left mid most of the time when he played for us. He played 26 games, scored 8 goals, which is pretty good. George Finney came in on loan. He was a right back and he's been playing recently. And then Dan Barton also on a loan, who's a winger that we played in just 7 games so far. But just to boost things a little bit, give us basically a full squad, because with the contracts running out, I do run out of players fairly often. But this season, this title winning season, is all about one man and one man only. It's Scott Lucas. I don't know if I've had a save hero as much of a hero as him in ages. I'm loving the fact that he is our guy. I really hope he can continue to improve. And let's take him to League One. I actually can't quite believe we're going to League One. We are also struggling financially again, by the way. We are at the moment needing to reduce our current wage bill by 1.6k per week to pass League 2 regulations. We should do that because we've got people who are having their contract expiring. But as always, I'm battling against financial problems. Our attendance also didn't really improve. It did a bit. I mean, it doubled, but it's up to 3,000. If you compare that to when we go away to Bradford, they get 17,000 in the same league as us. I mean, we're not far off the average for other teams, but maybe a little bit low. We haven't got loads of room to grow from there because the Bob Lucas holds 5,400. I think that came down because we put seats in rather than terracing, which is, yeah, it's just one of those things, isn't it? Favoured personnel, we are on there. Scott Lucas is now a favoured personnel at the club, which is glorious to see. Bandera still on there, although he is looking like he might leave this summer. His contract is up. He's on 2,000 a week. It would solve our financial problems. I do kind of want to keep him, though. It's whether or not he's going to be good enough for League One. I can't actually believe that we are on our way to League One already, but we are. So long may this continue. I'll see you in our 4th season. We begin season 4 with a sad farewell. Goodbye to Mauro Bandera. I very much appreciated your footballing ability, Mauro. You were great. he wouldn't sign a new contract, at least not for the wage that I wanted to give him. So he has ultimately been released, and we say goodbye after 3 glorious seasons at the club. Really, really, really impressive, actually. That first season will go down in history. He was our Segunda Volante in the Vanarama National League South, wasn't he? 19 goals, outrageously good. But we now say goodbye. We also say goodbye to Luke Garber, who has retired, Omar Bogle, Brad House, and Onel Hernandez, who have also all been released. But it's not all doom and gloom. I'm actually feeling pretty good about this. I have again been pretty good in the transfer window, I think. These are our signings. We have spent money, a record signing. Let's start there. Roberto, 200k, new gen winger, signed from Sutton. He's Spanish. He is exotic. He's going to be our flying winger, hopefully. I say flying, sort of at a medium pace, though, of 10 acceleration, 10 pace. But he's only 18, so he's going to get better too. 200k he's cost us. He is, I think, actually quite well suited to playing as a, rather than like a high winger, but like a wide midfielder because of that lack of pace. But he's got great passing, good technique, really good vision. So he's almost like a playmaker on the wings. He can play on either side. Probably going to use him on the left because we've got Romeo Beckham on the other side. He's right-footed, so we play inverted wingers, don't we? So Roberto in, 200k. I'm really hoping he does improve us. He was playing in the Vanarama National League last year. So not the best of pedigrees, but I think attribute-wise, he looks pretty good. So he comes in 200k. We also spent money on this man, Julio Cesar Jerez, another exotic Spanish-speaking striker. I assume he's Spanish-speaking. He's from the Dominican Republic. Perhaps they don't speak Spanish there. I'm not sure. To be honest with you, I thought he was Argentinian. He's not. But he has got a Spanish-type name. Maybe that's what made me think that. He's going to be our striker regardless. He's a perfectionist. He actually, I think he looks better than the average League One player. Maybe I'm needing to adjust to how good players are here, but he comes in for £175,000. We've signed him from Germany. Unterhaching was where he was before. I'm hoping this guy, maybe alongside Scott Lucas, can score the goals to fire us up League One. Maybe try and top half finish. Maybe try and finish towards the playoffs. Maybe even we go and win the league again, because it's what we've done so far in this save. I'm not going to rule it out. I honestly am not going to rule it out, even though it seems slightly unlikely. I will show you as well, by the way. We are predicted to finish 17th. I ignore these every single year, though, don't I? Because they mean nothing if you get yourself on a good run and you can start to win games, which I think we can. Was that Joey Barton, by the way? He's the Stockport manager. Excellent. We can look forward to beating him. But yeah, I'm quite happy with the transfer business we've done. Those two big signings, spending 375k. I've also brought in Laurent Ibo, who's a young winger. Terry Devlin, who's a really decent-looking midfielder, actually. I think he'll play games. Pedro Empis, a left back, sorry. John Mellish, who is a defensive midfielder. Sam Hughes, who is a centre-back, 6'4" of him. And then Lawrence Vigouroux, he was an ex-Liverpool goalkeeper whilst he was a youngster, I think. He's a Chilean goalie. He was at Liverpool in 2014 to 2016. So there you go. That's why I recognise the name. And then Michael Patterson, in on loan, is a new gen. He's a right-back. Really good potential on him because he's also got 20 determination. So maybe we can keep him around for longer. We'll see. The squad looks like this, though, if we're going to pick a team. Romeo Beckham's still in it. Roberto, as I say, from the left-hand side. Jerez and Lucas to lead the attack. Quite an exciting strike force, I think you'd agree. Mellish and Devlin as the two midfielders now, replacing the outgoing Bandero, and also dropping to the bench is Devaney. And then Zach Orr and George. Courtney George, who I played in midfield last year, is this young new gen centre-back. He's also a defensive midfielder, as I said. He's not quick, but he's 6'3", and he's 17, and he's ours. And I kind of want to play him to see if we can develop him. We've seen what effect that can have with, like, Romeo Beckham, who's now quite good. 550k he's worth. We've turned him into a genuine We're giving him an actual career as a footballer in the footsteps of his father. I'm not sure whether he will quite reach those heights. Probably not, is what I'm going to say, but it's quite fun to try and think about it, isn't it? That's the squad, though. We've still got MBO on the bench. We've still got Leighton Stewart on the bench if we need him to, as well as some of these guys as squad players. Like I said, I'm feeling pretty good. Whether we can go and do what we did last year and the year before remains to be seen, but why not try? Why not go and score more goals than the opposition with this exciting strike force and see where we can get? Let's go till about January and find out how the start of this season is going. Okay, slight reality check, but only slightly. We're not winning a league. I don't know what's going on. We're not currently top of the league. We are 4th in the league though, so it's pretty good still. But teams like Charlton, Wrexham, Stockport, Joey Barton's Stockport, by the way, I said I was going to go and beat him. He's top of the league. He's got 65 points. We're 12 points behind the teams at the very top here, so it doesn't look like we're going to win the title. For the first time in this save so far, we're going to have to rely on either trying to sneak into this automatic spot here, which also looks pretty difficult. We are 9 points behind Wrexham in second. Likely, we're going to have to try and finish in the playoffs and see if we can go up via the playoffs. Now, it becomes a bit of a gauntlet then, doesn't it? That you might win the playoffs, you might not. It might be another season in League One, which I don't think would be the end of the world, but it would be nice to keep the momentum going. I think we've had a good first half of the season, though. I am happy it's over half of the season, actually, isn't it, here in January? I keep thinking that January, because in the Prem, January is about halfway through. In the lower leagues, they play so many games. We've only got 16 games to go here, and we are in those playoff spots. Romeo Beckham's got 9 assists. Scott Lucas got a good average rating. Not scored as many goals this year, but has got 11 in 21. The big news, and the reason that I've stopped on this day specifically, is that we've received a bid. It's £6 million from Fulham. I am so torn about what to do about this bid. I've put his value up to the very, very top. This is me, by the way. He's not actually valued at 25 million. I put him up to the very, very top of the range that I could do. He's clearly got massive potential, and Fulham, who are a Premier League team, have offered £6 million for him. I think I'm going to say no. Is that... I mean, let me know in the comments down below. Is that mental? I just feel like he is the story. He is the storyline. He is the narrative of this save. 66 goals in 129 games. I'm going to say no to £6 million. I'm doing it. I've done it. No, Fulham. You can't have him for £6 million. Give me 25 and we might talk. But I think I'm going to have to say no to that. I think that's the right decision. Him and Jerez and Lucas are the strike force. They got 14 and 15 apiece. They're the game plan. This is what we're working with. I did actually sign some other players, by the way. Notably, Joe Gellart is here. We are in this, we're in League One. I need to kind of remember that now. So big name players like Joe Gellart are actually willing to come, and players that have genuine value are willing to come. He was on a free transfer. We signed him in. It was on the 9th of January, look. So we've managed to get a couple in. Luke Mbete as well as another one that we've managed to bring in. Another centre-back with good value. This is where you can really start to turn the screw a little bit with signings, because these free transfers, they go out of contract at their clubs. He was at Portsmouth previously, after on loan from Leeds. He's now got 4 in 4 from us and an 8.23 average rating. He is really good. Maybe that makes me think I should accept a bid for Scott Lucas, because technically Joe Gerlart's better, but he's not our boy, is he? So I'm glad that I said no. I'm glad that I said no. Either way, we are doing really, really well. As I say, we are in those playoff spots. Let me show you a game from recently. We beat Bradford City 4-0, and I want to show you this game because the goal scorers. We have goals from Jerez, 2 of them, and then also a goal from Lucas and also a goal from Beckham. So it feels like the perfect game to jump in and have a look at some highlights and see the way that this team is playing with one another. Completely dominant. Inside the first 20 minutes, look, it's Jerez into the box, across the keeper into that far corner. That's an assist from Romeo Beckham. Jerez, by the way, wears this lovely green headband look. So he's so notable in the game. You can really notice him. Jerez gets the second. That's his second in like 3 minutes in the first half. And then at the end of the first half, in added time, it was Scott Lucas to get a goal. Jerez gets tackled, and then Scott Lucas pops it into the back of the net. That was 3-0. And then there was another goal in there. The other goal was Romeo Beckham in the second half. He takes the corner, gets it back from Marcus Brown. Marcus Brown's still here, by the way. And look what Romeo Beckham does. Just runs and runs and runs and scores. It's quite a FIFA goal. For some reason, that reminds me of, like, you know, when you run, I don't know. Either way, Romeo Beckham scoring goals, Jerez and Lucas scoring goals. Now we've got Joe Gellart in there as well. I think we can finish in the playoffs, but let's go and find out if that is what we do. Let's go and finish the season. And if we're in the playoffs, have a look at how they're going to go. Come on. And that is exactly what we did manage to do. We finished 3rd in the end. It was a great second half of the season. Last 16 games is probably what I should call it. That we were excellent. We actually finished on 90 points. I said that automatic promotion was going to be impossible. We almost did it. We're only 2 points off them in the end. It's Wrexham on 92, Stockport on 96. They had a worse second half of the season. We've done amazingly, which is, again, it shows what can happen if you get a bit of momentum behind you. And you sign enough players, like having Joe Gellart come in and Mbete come in January. made us so much better, and then you use that momentum to try and finish higher up the league, which is exactly what we've done. We are in the playoffs, and notably, you'll notice here, we are in the playoff final. We have got Charlton in the playoff final because in the semi-finals, we had Millwall. We beat them 6-0 to begin with. Goals from Courtney George, by the way. He's now 18 and definitely improving. Feeling like he could definitely get into our team at some point. He's wanted by a lot of Premier League teams and Championship teams in there, which is a bit of a worry. He scored the opener. Then there was goals from Patterson, Jerez, or Gallart. I told you, like, he's made us so much better as a bench option. What an option he is. And then Ebo as well. Ebo's a really good young winger too. Pretty quick as well for this level. 6-0 win in the first leg, and then a 2-2 draw in the second leg was enough. Romeo Beckham and Courtney George with the goals there. We are into the playoff final where we are going to go and play Charlton. I'm going to go and play that now. And fingers crossed, this could be us making it to the Championship. And that would be a promotion every single season so far. Let's go to Wembley. And we lost. We lost at Wembley. It was heartbreaking, actually. I want to show you how it's transpired. We didn't deserve to lose this game. We went 1-0 down in the first 10 minutes. It's from a corner. Quite sloppy that they head it in. We did equalise at the start of the second half here. Look at us playing at Wembley. It's beautiful to see, isn't it? We did get back on level terms. Romeo Beckham involved. He picks up the ball in the box here, finds our left back Empis. 1-1. And from this, you think, right, this is it. And then just disaster, really. Charlton get themselves another goal pretty soon after we scored our goals. It's a little bit lax in the defending at left back there. Lane puts it in, and that was it. But look at the stats. 17 shots from us, a 2.42 XG. They've scored twice off 0.92. It always hurts that way, doesn't it? It does always hurt. These lads, though, they've been a genuine pleasure so far. And maybe it was a little bit outrageous to think that we were going to get 4 promotions on the trot. A playoff loss, it hurts right now, but I actually think it puts us in a great position to go and strengthen again and go and try and win this league for next year. So I'm going to go and try and do that strengthening right now. I'm hurting, but next year we're going to win this league, aren't we? Let's go and do some more transfers. All right, some brilliant news to start season number 5, and that is the news that our star man, Scott Lucas, has signed a new contract. He's agreed to stay until 2030, and I felt like it was significant enough to jump in before I'd finished my transfer business to show you this. He is now valued at 7.8 to 9 million pounds, and he's happy to stay here for another 3 years on this contract here. There's no future, there's no stepping stone clauses in here like minimum fee releases. He does have a match highest earner clause. He does want the money. He's on 10k a week, but I think it's worth it. He's our boy, isn't he? So we're going to keep him here, and I felt like that was significant enough to show you. We are now very much, I think, officially in a race to win this title. I am going for the league title this year, I think. It might not work out because there are going to be other good teams. Those teams that got relegated from the Championship to League One are probably going to be a problem. Teams like, in the season preview, we are in 10th. Sheffield Wednesday, Watford are going to be really tricky. Preston also got relegated. Like Watford surely are going to have players like Ellis Sims is leading their line. I think Scott Lucas is better than him. But yeah, it's going to be difficult, but I really think we can do it. I have started some business. As you can see, I'm busy rejecting bids for Jerez and rejecting bids for Scott Lucas constantly. Only like 300k. Scott Lucas has had pretty big bids that I've rejected from Leicester, Brentford and Fulham. Fulham are back for him. They really do want him. Up to 11 million is what I've rejected from Brentford for Scott Lucas, but we have to keep him. I think that's just the way. I think we just have to. Also bids from Hull and Cardiff for Roberto on the left wing too. But we are signing people. I've made a couple of signings, 3 signings in fact. Junior Samura, a winger from Sierra Leone, got good physicals, which I quite like about him. I'm constantly trying to refresh things on the wings. Josh Achiapong from Chelsea, the Chelsea youngster, in at right back. Look at the quality on this guy. I'd play him in the Championship, I reckon, just because he's got the physicals. He might be lacking in other areas, but if you've got physicals as a fullback, I think you're pretty good. I think he could definitely play for us if we keep him for next year as well. Has he played in? He hasn't played in the Championship before, so maybe I'm over-egging it a little bit, but he's played in League One before and he's come to us now. Then finally, Harry Toffolo. He's 32. Obviously, he's been at a whole host of clubs, but he's happy to come and play for us now in League One, dropping down from the Championship last year with Coventry, where he didn't really play, but he can be a good option for us starting at left back. So a bit of business done already, a bit more business still to be done. We've got a bit of budget, and then this wage budget I can kind of pop in here and it'll be fine. But yeah, I'm going to go finish that transfer budget now and see where we can go. But the big news is that Scott Lucas is here to stay. Okay, and that business is now done, but we start instead with a bit of annoying noise. The board have decided in their infinite wisdom that a bid from Leicester for Courtney George, if you remember, Courtney George was the young Dominican defensive mid centre-back that we had that came through our youth intake. He's gone to Leicester for what can become £9 million. I maybe would have rejected it in the same way that I rejected the Scott Lucas bids, but the board have accepted it. So whilst it is great to get a lot of money in, we're now, I mean, look at we've now got 10 million in the bank, which is the most we've had by a long shot. 6 million was the top there, but we're up to 10 now. This was another peak at 3.75. We've lost one of our really good players there. I will, though, try and replace him. We've got like Will Hughes that could come in and basically do that and play in our defensive midfield spot. But I have also been really busy. We have sold him for, I can't look how much money's come in. It's great. We did also, sadly, sell Julio Cesar Jerez for £2.5 million. The board really wanted me to accept this one as well, but I have managed to loan him back, which was kind of the reason that I ended up saying yes to that bid. We do get him for this year, and then I'm hoping that once we get to the championship, then maybe we can bring in an even better striker from there. It's sad to see him go because he did score a lot of goals for us, and then again, he hasn't really gone. He's still with us, isn't he? So we've loaned him back, but he had a great season for us last year. It's good profit though, 175k to 2.5 million, 10 million pounds being brought in, could even rise to 11.5 million pounds, is really, really useful to help us to build, maybe not for this year, but for next year when we are hopefully going to be a championship team. The only other players that I added to the list of signings was Sam Long came in. He is a right back on a free transfer. Jerez back on loan, of course, and then Daniel Jebison. I think he's a pretty good signing. He's only 24 still, and I think he will score goals for us in League One. Maybe even slightly higher up as well. Did he play in the Championship before? Yeah, he played a game in the Championship, had a season in the Championship here with Bolton and scored goals as well. So he's got pedigree. He comes into the squad. The squad looks like this. We're going to stick with the plan, the 4-4-2 with the Segundo Volante in there. We're going to continue with it. Romeo Beckham's got a slight injury, but he will be back in once that is healed, hopefully. The defence, according to our coaches, looks a bit weak now, but I trust these two. Zakor and Mbete, I think, are both, I mean, they were both really good last year, so they will be this year. Maybe it's just because we've got other really good players, like Sam Hughes has come in, and he's pretty good too. Maybe they're just all sort of much of a muchness. I'm not quite sure. Either way, I ignore the stars most of the time. Anyway, I'm confident. We are not favourites. We are 9th favourites, in fact. Sheffield Wednesday are 1-91 odds on to win the league this year. And those are the type of odds that I want to go and try and upset. And then we've got Oxford and then Watford in behind. This is going to be a really tough league to win with those teams in there. But I reckon we can do it. So let's go and find out. Let's go play some games and find out how the start of this season goes. We've played a couple of games already, by the way. We beat Crawley 2-1 and we went through against Reading after drawing 4-4. We beat them on penalties to beat them. Reading are as well, which is quite nice. They are a championship team. So that sort of shows our credentials, doesn't it? Let's go and play some games and I'll see you once we know how the start of the season has gone. Okay, we are 26 games into the season. It's the January window, January the 5th, 2028 now, and the league is going as I'd hoped it would go. It's tight at the top, I won't lie to you, but right now, of this moment right now, which is why I've chosen to bring it in now, we are top of the league. Sheffield Wednesday have a game in hand. Remember, they were 1-91 odds to win this league. They would go a point ahead of us if they win their game in hand, but right at this second, we're top of the league. 26 games, 19 wins, 2 draws, 5 losses so far. We have even, if you go to the losses of Sheffield Wednesday, we beat them 3-0 at our place. We have to go and play them at theirs, though, which is going to be tricky. It could be a title race to the end, but as long as we finish in the top 2 places and get promotion, that's sort of what I care about most. We do have Bristol Rovers who are sort of lurking right behind. By the way, Watford, I tipped them as being one of the promotion favourites. They've got 16 points though in the relegation zone. They are doing terribly. Oxford United will write up the predictions as well, and they're down in 14th look with 34 points. We don't care about these odds because we're showing that we are top of the league at the moment. Julio Cesar Jerez is making me really regret selling him because he's got 16 goals so far this season. We are loaning him, of course. Maybe I can try and loan him again for next year if we need him. He's also our top average rating in there too. And he's got the most player of the matches for us with 6, and he's second in that ranking as well. If I go and show you the tactics screen though, I need to update you on something because there has been a slight change of approach. We've moved away from the 4-4-2 sometimes to this. It's a 3 at the back, well 5 at the back if you want to include the wing backs here. A 5-3-2 type thing with 1 DM in there and then 2 midfielders. It gives us a little bit more control, I feel like. And I've been really quite enjoying using it so far. Maybe having the 3 centre-backs in there just makes us a little bit more defensively solid. Still allows us to use the 2 strikers, which I think is really important. The reason, by the way, that Scott Lucas is not in this team is because he's currently, or has been injured. Look, he's very, very tired. Has played most games, though. Jefferson has played loads, though, off the bench for a lot of them, too. You can see by some of the appearances here that there is lots of rotation going on. Usually not starting, are you? You're usually starting in there. But we're using this now. It's called the Terrorism 5-3-2. We will go back to the Terrified 4-4-2 at times. At the moment, I'm kind of enjoying this system that we're using. We did also make some more signings that I need to show you as well. After the last ones that I showed you, we did spend some money as well. We have brought in Jack Rodoni on a free. He comes in and plays in central midfield. You may have just seen him on the tactics screen there. Jack Johnston, 225k we spent on him. He's a new gen Scottish centre-back. Really quite good and hopefully going to improve in the future too. Will be perfect for a back 3. He comes in. Then we've spent money on Christian Walton. He's the Ipswich keeper in real life at the moment, playing in the Premier League. Always really good on Football Manager. So he makes us, I think, stronger in goal. And then finally, we've spent big on Bright Chukwuemeka. Now, again, we could call him Chucky. He's 19. He's got serious hair loss issues, but, you know, we don't judge for that. But as a right back, right wing back is how we're going to use him. We spent big money, 300k. It's our record signing so far on him at right back. But hopefully one that stays with us for a long time and maybe even improves to be Sky Bet Championship standard. And sometimes when you get to this league, it then changes to the league above as well. So hopefully that's going to be the case. I think he looks really good. We're spending a little bit of that money that we brought in for Courtney George in the summer. We also did sell Luke Mbeti for 115k. He was really solid. We signed him on a free, made a profit on him. We've also replaced him already with Jack Johnston. So that's kind of why I've done that business. The other things that I need to show you is we've got a massive game on our hands right now. We're about to go and play Man City at home. And now home, you might notice, is also, now it's the Vitality. We're playing and using Bournemouth Stadium because we are currently, I'll show you here, expanding the Bod Lucas up by an extra 2,864 seats. So we're going back there. It's going to be 8,000. It's going to be an 8,000 seater. I'm not even sure that's going to be big enough, especially if we get to the Championship. Football Manager sometimes does this. The facilities lag behind a little bit, don't they? But at the moment we're playing at the Vitality, which is a little bit bigger, 11,000, and obviously Bournemouth, Weymouth, pretty close in location. So it worked. I think it's quite a nice little update to the story that we are weaving here. Another thing too, by the way, we are officially a legend at the club, and Scott Lucas is an icon. Mauro Bandeira, bless his heart, is also still favoured personnel. He's actually been playing football. He went to, actually that's a lie, he went to a Portuguese team called Foyas. That's definitely not how you say that, but he's played no games, so we don't really need to dwell on it, do we? Other than all of that though, and the idea that we are playing Man City next and potentially making a bit of money, it's a shame it's not at the Etihad, isn't it? That would have made us a lot more money. But we did also play a big team earlier in the season, and that was Manchester United. We lost them 3-0, but they also came to the Vitality. Benjamin Sesko scored twice and Rasmus Højlund scored a goal. But we are, this year, kind of getting good draws in the Cups. We've beaten AFC Wimbledon in the FA Cup second round, beat Carlisle in the first round. It got us the big draw. Just a shame that it wasn't at home. It'd be really nice to get all of those that money from the gate receipts of it being played at the Etihad. But we should fill up the Vitality and get 10,000 fans in for this. So the fingers crossed for a result. We probably lose, but that is a nice little update as well. I'm now going to go and complete this season. I might see you in the playoffs. I might see you after we've won the league. I might see you after we've completely bottled things and we're going to have another season in League One. Let's go and find out how it goes. Oh my word. We've just won the playoff final. We're going to the Championship. What a second half of the season that was. That was ridiculous. We've just beaten Preston 6-4. I'll show you the goals now, but this is a stupid final. I thought we were cruising, and at one point we were cruising. We were 1-0 up inside the first 60 minutes. Scott Lucas with the ball back to Toffolo Falls to Radoni, our new... He's joined in central midfield, didn't he? That was 1-0. Chukwuemeka with a throw for Roberto. He's still here. Chukwuemeka into Scott Lucas, the boy wonder, scores to make it 2-0. And then straight away, this is only 24 minutes on the clock. It is 3-0 to us after Radoni scores his second. Let me pause it there. We are 3-0 up at this stage and cruising to what I think is a lovely safe passage to the championship. Then this happens. Before half-time, by the way. This is now the 30th minute. I didn't change anything tactically, but Preston go up the other end and score a goal. I'm like, okay, keep it steady, lads. No panic. Just don't panic about it. It'll be fine. 4 minutes later, 32 minutes on the clock, they score another one. I'm still thinking, okay, this is a bit worrying now, but just keep it calm. Don't panic about it. 3 minutes later, it's 3-3. In the space of about 8 minutes, they've turned it around completely and they are level. And then, right before half-time, every single time, it's this big cross look. Walton comes out and misses this one. It bounces down to Bird. We're 4-3 down in the first half. After being 3-0 up, it was the most stupid game of Football Manager you can imagine. And then we do this. I mean, you can see it at the top here. We then score straight away after half-time, after giving them a right rollicking in the changing rooms. Johnston scores a header. He's that new-gen Scottish centre-back, if you remember. He's 6'3", so he's quite good in the air. Immediately after, he scores another one. Set piece is OP. This is 49th minute. And then, in what is a 7-minute hat-trick, he scores his third. And we are then 6-4 up. From being at half-time being 4-3 down to be leading 6-4 after 53 minutes. We then got a red card as well. Trapp got sent off in the 86th minute. It doesn't matter though, because we are going up to the championship. It was a ridiculous end of the season. I said I didn't want to bottle it from where we were. We kind of did. Sheffield Wednesday and us, both of us, just fell away massively. And Bristol Rovers from nowhere got themselves 99 points. It was a silly second half of this season. Huddersfield also went up automatically. And then it was us and Preston, look, who finished above us in the league in that playoff final. Sheffield Wednesday, I just want to say, this is an almighty bottle job from them. Ours wasn't great, but that is an almighty bottle job. Look at the first half of their season. Lovely and green. Second half of the season. How do you lose that many games extra? I mean, did it all come? They won 7-4 there. Then they lost in the FA Cup and it kind of just went downhill from there. They drew with us. Our second half of the season form, I mean, it wasn't outrageously good. There was a horrible spell here in February. We lost 3 games on the bounce to put us basically back in. I mean, we didn't win a game for 5 games there. This put us in the place where I was like, okay, playoffs it is. And then from there, we had to recover a little bit, which we did. We only lost 1 game after that, and that was to York, who are a good team. We actually beat them in the semi-final. The Bristol Street Motors. What does Bristol Street, I assume, rather than Saint Motor? I don't know. In this game, we won that trophy anyway. We beat Carlisle in the final. Romeo Beckham scored, and so did Samora. That was fun. We got some silverware, and then we got some more silverware by winning that playoffs final. I'm exhausted. I'm genuinely exhausted by the second half of this season. But ultimately, it does mean that this gang of lads, this 4-2-2 gang of lads, which is what we're working with at the moment, is going to be in the championship next year. All of our players are wanted. They are all looking like they might. There's going to be so much work to do in the transfer window, but I'm really looking forward to it. Our boy Scott Lucas is going to be a championship footballer next year. So much fun, so good. I'm going to see if I can get Jerez back on loan again, I think, as well. But guys, I think I'm going to leave it there for today's video. I was going to do one long video for this save, but it's taking so long because obviously there's a lot of time and effort goes into these things. I think I'm going to do a part 1 and a part 2, but there won't be a big, don't worry. I'm going to do part 1 today, and then a couple of days later or 1 day later, part 2 is going to come out. So if you're watching this on the day it releases, don't panic, because the second part, the final part, is going to be out straight away. If you're watching this late, part 2 is probably already out and it'll be at the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching today, though. We're a championship team. 5 seasons, 5 glorious seasons. The idea now is we continue. I'm halfway, and I said 10 seasons to win the league, or the Champions League. I think we can kind of do it. But yeah, we're going to leave it there for today. If you've enjoyed it, please subscribe to the channel. Look out for part 2. It will be coming. And have a lovely rest of your day. Leave a like on the video too. Maybe actually, tell you what you can do to show you got to the end of the video. Leave me a lovely 1-sentence description of the glorious man that is Scott Lucas. And I'll have a good read through of the best ones of those. Thank you for watching though. Have a lovely rest of your day. I'll catch you in part 2. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.